Hey, what's up everybody? So my name's Josh. I'm an instructor for Orion Training Group. I work full-time as a paramedic. My background's in 911 and critical care. So today we're going to talk about the March assessment. It's a great assessment for trauma. It's what I prefer for that. And we're just going to kind of roll right into that. We'll go over what it means, and then we'll do some hands-on with an actual patient so you can see how that kind of flows as well. And I want to kind of highlight with that this is your priorities of work. Right, it's the same concept. It's ordered this way because this is what's going to kill your person the quickest. Let's start off the M in March. I think we're gonna put this up on the screen somewhere over here while I awkwardly pose, but the M in March is for massive hemorrhage, right? This means like there's a lot of blood coming out. This is life-threatening bleeding. You have 2 to 4 minutes time in an arterial bleed before it's unrecoverable or you lose the person. So with massive hemorrhage, we want to think about, this is a lot of blood. This is when you see blood spurting out or oozing out, it's pooling on the floor, it's soaked through clothing, or there's some kind of amputation, right? We have a serious problem to deal with here. There are several ways that we can stop bleeding in this section. Our go-to is going to be the tourniquets if the injury is amenable to using one. From there, wound packing, pressure dressings, pressure in general. The main thing with M is that we want to try to stop that bleeding as quickly as possible. Moving from the M, we go into A, airway. In airway, we're making sure that person's airway is clear, they're able to breathe. What we have for that right now is an MPA. Along with it, you can do positioning, putting somebody in the recovery position or using some kind of jaw thrust to open that airway, make sure they're breathing well, and then maintain it as well. From breathing, we go into R, respirations. How well is that air moving in and out, right? Is there something that's affecting that somehow? When we start doing like blood sweeps and everything, or blood rates, we may find there is a sucking chest wound that we haven't noticed or whatever. So in that section, I like to include our chest seals, if we need to seal something inside that box area. If we need to breathe for them, I carry a micro BVM. It pats up really well. There's also face shields, pocket mask, whatever you need to, if you have to put your mouth on somebody. I don't like that. Nobody uses mouth to mouth anymore. It's kind of nasty. If you have a shield and it's all you have, we do what we got to do. At the same time, if there is a hole that's affecting that ability to breathe, somehow if there's a sucking chest wound, then we have chest seals. We can seal that as well. So we can breathe for them if we need to. We can seal that cavity and make sure the air is going in and out good. One way to look for that is to start looking at their skin color, if they're turning blue or cyanotic or anything like that. And that kind of moves us over into our circulation. We're really checking to see how well this person has blood moving throughout their body. This is where I start thinking about shock. So when you think circulation, it's kind of the same as pulse, right? Like, can I feel my pulses either at the radial, at the brachial, at the carotid, wherever you need to? You can compare these. If you have an absent radial pulse, it's a good sign that your person's looking at shock. They may be going into shock. Our skin color, are they very, very pale? Are they sweating? Are they not sweating? Just start looking at all these things to kind of assess where we are as far as that perfusion rate and shock index goes. So as we're looking at how that skin condition changes, knowing this person goes into shock, that can kind of lead us into our H. H, we have to cover hypothermia and head injury. All trauma patients get cold. Warm up all your trauma patients. With blood loss, hypothermia becomes very easy, and hypothermia is going to actually further blood loss. It starts hurting their ability to clot. Just makes it worse all the way around. So every trauma patient, even if it's 100 degrees outside, we're going to package and wrap and whatever. I carry a bunch of these $1 survival blankets to use. There are many things out there. If you are somewhere in the wilderness and you have a bivy sack, whatever you have to do, something to keep this patient warm. NH, along with hypothermia, we like to think about head injury in the terms of TBI or something that has happened, or traumatic brain injury. If the only way we can really assess for that without a lot of advanced tools is to start looking at mental status. So if the person is confused, if they're altered, if they're not really like able to answer basic questions, if you can ask them like, hey, what is this? And they can't tell you that that's a watch, then we may need to start thinking about, is their head injured? Also, if there's actually injuries on their head is probably a good sign with that. And I think that just about covers all of our March algorithm stuff. Since we've talked about everything and how this goes, let's actually put it in practice and see how that flows. All right, so now that we've kind of talked through what the March assessment is, we have a patient in here. He's kind enough to come and lay out on the floor with us, and we can kind of show you like how this works, right? So we said M for massive hemorrhage. When I think about massive hemorrhage, again, I think about that's a lot of blood. So as I'm approaching my patient, I'm looking at him, and I don't see a lot of blood. I don't see him spurting. There's not a lot pooled on the ground. His clothes aren't soaked through or anything. That's a check mark for me. That's my massive hemorrhage covered. I don't do my blood sweep here. So when we talked about blood sweeps, blood rates, this is not the section I would do that in. That's a secondary assessment that I'm going to do later on.
And that's context driven, right?
Yeah.
If it's nighttime, right, maybe, or you're under night vision or something.
If you can't see it, you may have to do more hands-on. Right. And as far as our day-to-day setting, if we're out in bright sunlight and we can see everything, perfect. That M is quick, right? I came up, I don't see anything happening, I'm done there. We move along from there to Airway, and that's as simple as everything else. So go ahead and lay your head back for me. I know it's a little uncomfortable here, but I need to start looking at it and see, like, do I see chest rise and fall? Now with the plate carrying everything on, it might be a little hard to tell if he's got good chest rise or fall. If you've taken a CPR class or anything like that in the past, you'll start hearing the listen, feel. So if you have to get down close and actually see if you can feel the breath and hear him moving back and forth while looking at that chest rise, that'll let me know if his airway's open. If it's not, we have some options we can use. For the trauma situation, like we talked about earlier, we like the jaw thrust. I would just place my fingers under there and pick up on his jaw to move all that structure out of the way. Or if we need to, and we're able to, we can roll him over into a recovery position to open all that up. Now, with A, we'll move along to R, which is respirations. From there, I want to see how well he's breathing. Do I need to breathe for him? So it's going to be kind of hard to tell with all this on. If he's got like a sucking chest wound or anything, I can't see that offhand. So we can kind of talk about like removing kit as well.
Yeah, well, you hear a lot of people say like, oh, you don't need a quick release unless you're in maritime, right? Like you fall overboard, you want to be able to quickly get your kit off. But also bad stuff happens on land and you might want to get your kit off quickly. So depending on what you're working with, this is a Faro Concepts FCPC, and it's got the adapt cummerbund, which has QD buckles on it, and everyone, relatively speaking, understands how to use that. And what's cool about the way he has his set up, he's got QDs on both sides. I personally do not have mine, I just have it on the one side. But now that that's popped open, and this one's popped open, that medical responder can very simply just open this up, and now what do we have? All that is visible, right? Now, this would also have to be taken off before you go to the hospital. If you're putting them in an EMS wagon, you're taking that off first anyway.
Absolutely.
If you didn't have QDs, how would you as a first responder be taking this off?
I'd cut it.
You'd cut it.
I'd cut it. My shears are good enough that I could probably cut through one of them.
Oh, you can easily cut the Tegris with them, yeah. So the whole idea is not only does this preserve the kit, but he doesn't have to go dig out shears and cut something. He can go, oh, QDs, pop, pop, done. So it's better for you as the person who's wounded to have some sort of quick detach. There's first spear tubes, there's these, there's the Italian copy of the first spear tubes, I can't remember the name of it, but it's used on a lot of stuff now. You know, the Italians stole pasta from the Chinese, now they're stealing, quick release tubes from the Norwegians or wherever first spear is. They always take better stuff from other people, so it is what it is. Right. But there's a bunch of options. Go buy something that makes your kit easier to take off if you get hurt. All right, I'm gonna disappear now. That was my portion.
All right, so M-A-C.
M-A-C-R-C. C's next. C's next, right? March? Okay. I'm dyslexic, guys.
Yeah. I can't spell, but so we've covered our first 3 steps of March. We're moving into C, right? Circulation. Again, this is where I start thinking about what his skin condition looks like. I'm checking pulses, as we said, a radial, if I need to, a brachial, or over on the carotid. Kind of start thinking about, like, is he looking shocky? Do I feel that radial pulse? No. Maybe he is shocky. I'm not sure why you don't have a pulse right here right now. But I don't know what's going on with that.
I'm back.
No, he definitely does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was concerned. I was like, is his blood sugar low? Is he okay?
I do normally have like a really low resting heartbeat.
Okay. All right. I'm back. I'm going away again.
Like under 60.
Okay. Mine's like 85.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So in our situation where we're doing a first response type thing, there's not a lot that we can do for that. If he is going to a shot, we will say treat for shock. What we mean by that most of the time is treat for hypothermia. Right, so we're going to be moving into that H category where we start thinking about hypothermia and head injury. And from here, we would just be simply packaging this patient ready to go. Now, you've been laying down here on this tile for a while now. How's that feel? Is it cold?
The tile?
Yeah.
No, that's all right.
All right.
He's
Well,
just a weird
yeah.
person.
So somebody laying on tile like this for a while will start getting all the heat sucked out of them. So
Not him, though.
God damn
yeah.
it, take the cues.
Yeah. You're doing bad.
I'm a gimmick, so I'm always cold.
Frank.
How are you feeling, buddy? I'm cold. It's so quiet in here.
With that, you want to package your patient, wrap them up, keep them warm. Again, I've said this multiple times now, but all trauma patients get kept warm. I'm going to keep harping on hypothermia until we get it right.
People don't think of it.
No, it's
But
not.
it
It's
kills.
not. Yeah. Tourniquets are easy to talk about. Bleeding's sexy and easy to talk about, but hypothermia is something that will kill your patient if it's not treated.
Yeah, dying is not sexy, right?
Yeah, and so
For
that,
most people.
from that, that pretty much covers our entire March assessment, and we've stretched this out a little bit. It can go a little bit faster in reality. So, like, just to kind of wrap it all up, we went through the steps of it and stretched out a little bit. But as we finished talking about March, with that M, as I approach my patient, I'm looking for massive hemorrhage. I don't see any. Is he breathing? Is air moving? A is covered. How's that air moving? I'm looking at the same thing, that chest rise and fall, making sure it's equal and it's at a good rate. R is covered. I'm checking the pulse, looking at his skin condition. It looks good. Circulation's done. And then, like, I can ask him questions. How's it going? What happened? If he can answer me, like, that's my head injury category. He's mentating well, or he's not confused, and then I can package him if I need to. This entire assessment on contact is 30 seconds to a minute, maybe. It's a very quick process once you understand it all. That's about all I've got on those.
The only thing I can think of, just looking at it, is how would people on the YouTube comments be forming questions, right? Anticipating your needs. What happens with the back half of him?
So the back half of him, we will, and I would probably put that, just if we're gonna do a quick check or whatever, if we're gonna, as we're packaging, I would say.
Because that's how you're gonna get a blanket under him, right?
Yeah. If there is something on the chest that we need to check for, when I'm checking that chest, I'm gonna do it simply. If I need to log roll him, I'm just gonna simply grab him, log roll him up if I need to. If you have other people and you need to worry about spinal precautions, have somebody hold their head and worry about spinal precautions. If you don't have somebody else,
Godspeed.
Yeah. Check what you need to. I'm checking the back real quick, see if I notice anything massive. If I need to pull a shirt up and look. Chances are, if you have a hole in the front, there's probably a matching hole somewhere else. So be sure that you're looking for those things.
Yep. And the only thing I would add, like what we just talked about a minute ago, context-based for as a paramedic in daylight dealing with this problem. If this is one of your buddies, right? You came up to one of your buddies who's downed and you're under nods or it's low light, you're in full kit, they're wearing camo that sometimes hides those colors and things. You may be doing that log roll as part of your initial massive hemorrhage. So you're looking at the front and feeling and sweeping. Well, now I've got to look at the back, popping that kit off, rolling him, feeling and sweeping. So some of these methods we're using for looking for the hemorrhaging are going to change based on your manpower, your mission, your environment, and what you're wearing and all that stuff. So don't look at the March assessment as I have to do it the same way every time. Look at it as a basic algorithm, right?
Yeah, and this isn't your end all be all of assessment skills. Like assessment skills, this is a foundation that we can build upon as you go along, and it's not a one and done, right? So we don't do March and be like, he's good, that's it. It's something that I'm consistently doing as long as I'm with this patient.
We should do it after we move them,
after we move
while
him,
they're in the wagon, all that stuff.
After I do anything, if I have to perform an intervention, like I'm checking again, and then I'm going to be continuously checking on that.
Amen.
Treatment that I did as well. So yeah, just this is your foundation. We have multiple options for you to come build upon that. We have 1 day TAT med, 2 day TAT med, and care under fire coming up. So
yeah, and in the care under fire class, you'll be doing this under fire in the sense that you'll be having to make these critical skill sets under a higher level of stress. So you'll need a CQB prerequisite from our program, and then you'll get to do this stuff in a force-on-force class with fake blood and role players and all that. So it's gonna be a good time.
Yep, sounds great.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys watching. Where can they go to get info on classes?
Yep. So we have a website.
We have a website
We have
now.
a website, yeah. Everything's on OrionTrainingGroup.com,
That's
right?
it.
Yep, all
And
the classes are there. They are listed in an order that would make sense to you because it's the closest
And there's
ones.
like a search bar.
Yeah.
Where like if you type medical, like medical classes pop up.
It's
crazy.
actually a new website. It's been redesigned. It looks great.
Yeah, it's a lot less stupid than the last one.
Yeah.
And who do we train? American citizens.
We train,
So we don't restrict medical knowledge like some
open
people
enrollment
do.
for American citizens.
That's it, open enrollment for
the
American
one.
citizens.
Yeah.
Because we believe that it should be open to everybody. We have had people, I've gotten angry emails from law enforcement and the military saying you shouldn't teach tactical medicine, that's secret knowledge, right? It's a tactical situation when it pops off at Walmart, right? So you need this stuff and it shouldn't be gate kept. We've got other videos talking about those concepts. Go back and check out other stuff on the channel from Josh and relate it back to tactics and everything else. But we appreciate you guys watching this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and tell Josh how handsome he is.
All the YouTube things.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys.